The Triple Trio with Hutchi, Richo and RS Dye. It's Hong Kong racing with the blinkers off.
Hello everyone, looking forward to a massive edition of the Triple Trio. Thank you to everyone who followed our show last week, and hopefully you were rewarded with a lot of money. I've got the best seat in the house. I'm alongside the best form guru in Hong Kong, Hutchi, and also the Hall of Famer in RS Dye. We are here, we are there, and we are everywhere.
And what a weekend we've got coming up, and what a week that we've enjoyed as well, Richo. Big week. We had a fantastic Wednesday with the best bet lobbing gold marquees, and of course the best on the weekend. So we've had a really good week. Nice momentum builder into the international trials this week.
RS Dye, welcome. We had a wonderful week, as Hutch has touched on, and it looks even better up ahead.
Great racing this weekend. This is probably the best race meeting so far in Hong Kong for the season.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And hey Shane, all the big stars are arriving as well. Did you see the list of the jockeys that have arrived in Hong Kong saying, I want a bit of that prize money?
Impressive. And it'll get better International Day. So the next month's very good for Hong Kong racing.
Shane, you mentioned last season on this show actually that, you know, they needed to start to get some big names and attract them in. Obviously, they've made some moves, the club, and they've certainly turned things around. We're starting to get the right sort of people on board now.
Yeah, well, you only got to look at the jockeys riding there on the weekend. Zac may or may not. He'll tell us later how he's going, I suppose. But they're a good bunch of jockeys, and it's a shame Barcelona's only got one ride, which is quite amazing because he's outstanding also.
So much to look forward to today. We're going to burst out of the gates. Also, we're going to do a little bit of Hong Kong racing school, and this is something that I think a lot of our international audience would love some clarity on. So that'll be a beauty. Of course, Genius and Slaughter, Sweet and Defeat, all the normal files are there. But then the big one, and that is our very special star power guest, is the one and only Zac Purton. He's going to join us in the show. But Hutch, we've got a lot to reflect on in regards to winners. Well done to you and all to RS. Anyone who followed our show started with RS Dye's best, which was a beauty in Righteous Doctrine. Terrific weekend.
It was a great weekend. Yeah, he started short, but Shane was confident and he won well. What about the plunge on this horse? Dragon's Lucky was well into double figures, and the late money came thick and fast, and he won accordingly. He'll be one to keep following for sure. And then on Wednesday, we backed it up with another best in gold marquee. But look, he was a nice winner too, Shane, actually, wasn't he? Sort of quick and well. Gave a great ride from Matty Chadwick.
Yeah, he was a nice horse in New Zealand when I saw him. I actually saw him in New Zealand race. He's had a few problems. He went really well last season, first up, if you remember, and Cass has taken his time and he's got over his problems, and he trialled really well up the straight. Against a very good horse with the blinkers on. He then reproduced in that run, so he was good odds. And he has got a future.
I got stung by the Saturday racing. I'm very busy on a Saturday hosting Channel 7's coverage, and then I looked down at my phone and our little WhatsApp group with messages from you two. Oh, what about the price? Ping, 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 ping. And I'm there looking, going, uh-oh. I think I've missed.
Yeah. Well, you've got to get on this show. We can't help you. You're the one who's got to push the buttons.
Oh, Shane, there was some juicy price. Hey, did you? I don't have a badge. You don't have to declare it, but profitable weekend.
Yeah, I had a good day last Saturday and a good night Wednesday night. I found Civi Chick, which was about $14 or $16. So that was a good one. His first up run was really good. He probably should have nearly won. And once he found the front the other day, he was never going to get beat.
Okay, so just a little, hey, the rich keep getting richer, if you don't mind. Let's burst out of the gates. And we burst out of the gates, Hutch, with the Panasonic Cup, which was won by Beluga.
Yeah, nice rides from Zac Purton as well to win it. But I thought the young lad, we marked Circuit Stellar around the price that he jumped on the day, and I think he did the right thing in this race. We'll get to Shane's thoughts in a moment in terms of, obviously there was a bit of pace out wide that Silver Express and Healthy Happy went forward, so he took the sit back off them. But the pace actually, even though the field were well spread out, it wasn't actually that strong. And just, I thought at the 600, when he was in this position, he needed to peel off and keep his momentum going. He was the strongest late. He had no weight on his back. The stewards did interview him, and they basically pointed out as much, Shane. It was probably just this stage of the race when Zac's waiting for him probably to go. Well, Beluga may well have run over him. I'm not sure, but he just waits at this stage of the race, and I think at this point he needed to get out and get going and probably come around Silver Express.
Yeah, he should have. There's no doubt about that. It was a mistake. But the hindsight of that is Silver Express normally stops. Healthy, happy, normally, or whatever it's called, keeps going. So he thought he was going to probably get a run there, no doubt. But with no weight on your back, he can get going and go a little bit wider. This horse here, that one, he always goes good second up. He's sensational second up, this horse. I end up backing him because of it. And the way the track was, it was an on-pace track. So it was a good result. The Golden Scenery, who I tipped last week, when the track wasn't suiting backmarkers as much, still ran very well. He's a winner waiting to happen, that horse.
You snooze, you lose. That was the scenario there, wasn't it?
It definitely was. I mean, he's a young lad and he's riding pretty well. I mean, I think Shane's going to highlight some of his good rides. So you can't be too critical. I mean, he's going to ride a lot of winners as well with his claim. A lot of these claimers, particularly with the 10 pounds, the time to get him as on leaders. I thought he'd actually lead that race, but he didn't. I like what he did in the first half, but it's just that little decision making at the 500 or 600 to pop off. He'd done no work. The pace wasn't that strong. Use your weight to your benefit and get going. But, that's something that he'll develop. So I'm not being critical of him. It's just a reassessment. The stewards interviewed him and basically said as much.
Hey, Shane, just on that, a lot of elite sportsmen have personal coaches. Do elite jockeys have a personal coach? And is that something that you do to help out some young jockeys?
I think they used to have Felix Kutzi there helping the apprentices, I should say. I don't know whether he still is. Is he, Clint?
I think he is, yeah. I think Felix has still got a big presence there.
But not just apprentices. I'm thinking about, like a Zac Purton, even at the top of his game, even Roger Federer at the top of his game still had a personal coach. Is that something that when you were at the top of your game, did you need a coach?
Do you think I did?
Well, I think it can't hurt, surely.
Not a hope in the world, me having a coach. I've got my mind set. I know what I'm doing. I put in the work. No one helped me. And if people tried to help me, I'd go against them because I've done the work and I've probably done more work than them on the race. So,
but what about someone you really respect, their opinion, just someone as a sounding board to constantly talk about the pros and cons of each of your rides?
I used to ring someone in Australia for the 2-year-olds every year way before Golden Slipper on times, because in those days they didn't put out times, and he did the sectionals. And I was very well aware before probably any jockey about sectionals. And I used to get the sectionals of the 2-year-olds off him, and he used to give it to me. So I was like 4 or 5 months ahead of everyone trying to get the right slipper horse, because I believe sectionals are the most important things in races.
Okay, that's good insight. So more of a form point of view. Talking about sectionals, talking about young horses, how good was Superb Capitalist? That's a nice debut.
This is a superstar. This is outstanding, this horse. I tipped him last week. His trials have been very good. You may not understand or realise, but if you watch his action is so good. He's just covers ground, and this is going to Group 1. I'll be surprised if he doesn't. I think he's the
real deal. Look how easy he did it.
I really do. He's one of the best I've seen in Hong Kong for a long time. Young horse.
Wow.
Young horse.
Big call. It was a really impressive win, like you said. I mean, he did get an allowance, obviously, with Angus, but he couldn't have been any more impressive. They normally don't do that. Restricted race as well, but he did it on the clock, as Shane said.
I was going to say, so how did those times match up? The time
rated well. I mean, I went back and had a look at what California Spangle did as a Griffin, and it rated a similar way. You know, but there's a lot of horses that rate around that, but it's how much they progress after that. But I mean, he's with the right stable, Tony, to continue to bring him all the way through.
And what was underneath the hood is what we don't know, Shane, because he wasn't even remotely tested.
He had 5 to 6 links up his sleeve, that horse. He would have quickened more if he had let him go. The good thing was he didn't. He looked after him, and he didn't give him a hard run. He didn't push him out, which was really good. Shows you the kid's learning, and he's got a bit of a head because he's thinking. And that's what he said to the stewards about Circuit Stella before. He said he stayed on the fence because he thought the outside horse, the grey horse, was going to stop and he would get a run outside Healthy Happy, which didn't eventuate, which means you're thinking. And by not pushing that horse, that can only help him for his next run.
Yeah, which is when? Do we know when we see him again?
Oh, look, one thing in Hong Kong, if they come out of a run well, they step him up again.
Couple of weeks.
Probably a few weeks, I would imagine. Depends a lot on the program. I haven't looked to see what's at there, but in the class that he's in, I mean, I didn't see what his penalty was. I'd imagine it'd be
14
well into the
points.
double figures. 14 was it? So
He didn't miss him.
No, he hasn't missed him, and he'll find a race in a few weeks.
Vincent Ho, Matty Chadwick are in good form. We're seeing that with Zach not riding because of COVID on the weekend.
I thought both of them are riding well. This was a nice ride from Vincent early in the night. He just parked in behind the horses, changed stables, worked nicely. He got a good sit, Vincent. This is the one thing with Vincent. He can be a little bit he sort of errs on the side of coming back rather than being too positive, but he landed in a great spot here and he is riding well. And yeah, when Zach's away, they came to the fore. And look, Matt.
I said weekend, but it should be Wednesday night,
Wednesday.
of course.
I mean, Matt Chadwick, like I said, I thought his ride on Gold Marquise was fantastic, and this was also a good ride. I mean, he put excellent peers in the race chain, and he's going well, Matty.
Yeah, he's going really well. Both of them are going good. They have for quite a while. So Vincent had a quiet patch there, remember, about 12 months ago, and then he turned it round. Matthew started bad 18 months ago and then turned it round. So it's good to see they're both going well, and they will keep riding winners.
And fingers crossed, Zach will be back on Sunday. Of course, he is booked, but he's going to be our very special guest, so we'll get the absolute latest in regards to Zac Purton. Hey, I'm keen to learn some lessons. Into school we go with Hong Kong racing, and I sit there and watch Hutch, and I hear the commentators saying, something's going green, something's going brown. What are they talking about?
Yeah, the rest of the world's not really sure, are they?
Yeah.
And just from that perspective, I thought this would be a good opportunity with the Hong Kong Racing School just to highlight what a green lamper is and what a brown lamper is. That's what it's really referring to, what is on the tote board, and it's the win odds of the horses that are shortening in the market. Now, if it goes green, it means that their odds in a specific period of time normally, have dropped to 20% or more. And when money continues to come, they go brown and it drops by 50%.
So that's 8 minutes prior to the race from then onwards.
So it helps the public identify without, going all through the odds, obviously, if you're there on course or you're online looking at the odds, where the money is going. There are other ways to do it, but this is a very easy and user-friendly way, I think, for customers to have a quick look and say, this horse is being backed and that horse is being backed as well. And I think we've got a list of some of the trainers, actually.
Okay, so is there set trainers that we follow that money trail with?
I suppose so, yeah. I mean, if they continue to shorten in, I mean, here's a list of them.
These are the biggest brown lamp trainers. I like the sound of that. So Danny Shum, 80, 10 winners when they've gone brown, so he strikes at 12.5%.
Danny Shum, Francis Loy, Benno Jung, and Mi Choi, all the local boys. And doesn't always work out as well for some of the other stables, as you can see with profit on turnover. But, there's the strike rates. Francis Loy's an interesting one, isn't it? It looks like when the money's on and they like his horses, I mean, if you're going at 20% and 40% plus on turnover, you got to take notice. I mean, that's everywhere in the world, is it? We like certain stables, you think, the money's on here, or they're following a specific horse. So that's just some reference information for those that want to follow certain yards when the money comes.
Hey, Shane, how important is it for you? Do you follow the green and the brown lamps?
I more or less know, because what I do and put the work in, what the pros are going to back. So I factor that in even before they turn green or brown. But it helps. But that's not going to happen till the last minute to minute and a half when the computer teams start to invest. And you see the ones that really turn are the Quinella pool, because there's a lot of overs in the Quinellas, but the computer teams adjust them, and probably in the end they're too short. But it's a good tool. It's good to watch, and they pretty much get it right most of the time, the computer teams.
And I must point this out as well. All that information as well was from Sahil, and Sahil obviously does all the statistics and does all the quant stuff.
Yeah.
Fantastic to follow him on Twitter. Appreciate he's a good friend of Hutchie's Hong, because he provides us with a lot of that analytics, and it is good information. It's a different way. I mean, Shane and I are sort of more traditional form, but a lot of that type of stuff is also very interesting. And obviously the bigger teams that Shane mentions, they build that into their algorithms. They've got big teams behind them. They know how to do all of that. But that's some information that we've referenced from Sahil. So we'll really
You've got a big team too, mate. We're pedaling as hard as we possibly bloody can.
Well, I mean, this is the great thing, and we said it on our shows when we were first starting, and Shane said, there's lots of different ways to do the form.
Right.
You can do them, you can watch your trials, track work.
Yep.
You can do the statistics. You can do, your replays. So there's lots of different ways to.
I've got a very simple system. I follow you two.
This is what we suggest.
It's as simple as that. Every time I think about having my own opinion, I go, how do I possibly think I know more than these two?
Well, we put the work in, so I hope you get. It's still hard, Richo, but hopefully we can find everyone some winners.
Richo, race 8, number 8's always lucky, mate. If they're ever in doubt, just go race 8, number 8. You can't go wrong.
Well, the good thing
as long as it
always,
doesn't have green colours.
Oh, gee. Well, Jai McNeil is on race 8, number 8, and it's called Savvy 9, and it doesn't have green colours.
Oh.
If that wins, I'm giving up.
Let's find out who was sweet in defeat.
6th generation, Miraculous Honour, Super Sunny Sing and Regent Glory all in a line. He's going to dig into an empty hole here because Super Sunny Sing has grabbed him, but Super Sunny Sing.
Well, the Triple Trios version of the Black Bookers is called Sweet in Defeat. So they've been beaten, but we've got to follow them. Hutch, who gets in the file?
A couple of nice runs. It wasn't a plethora of the good runs that I thought, but from one race in particular, and for different reasons, I thought both Sweet Encounter and Voyage Bobble can be followed going forward. I didn't mind the run from Hearty Wish on Wednesday, and Gallant Waking, I doubted how good he was. I know Shane was a big fan of him. I know he'd put back-to-back wins together, and I sort of wasn't convinced, but it was some sort of run on Wednesday. But we're going to have a look at a couple. And look, early in the race, Voyage Bubble had to work early. So I thought he sort of, fresh up, he just probably overdid it a little bit, and there was an excuse. The flip side of that was Sweet Encounter missed the start for whatever reason. I've heard Shane say, the jockeys don't miss it, the horses do, and that was the case. And once he stood in the gates, it was sort of all over for him. I mean, Stunning Impact was a play for us. I've watched this a few times. I think it's interesting. I'm not sure who wins, but Stunning Impact was good. There were clear excuses for Sweet Encounter. But Shane, I thought that, I'll get your thoughts on those in a couple, but I thought both of those were a good run. And Hearty Wish was another one, Shane, that I thought just worked overtime like Voyage Bubble.
Yeah, this horse did way too much. I had him midfield, but he's in a tough situation because he committed out of the gates, which I thought was the wrong move. There was plenty of pace in the race with Wee W Brother and the horse from the outside gate, Cigar Buddy.
Yeah, Cigar Buddies. Yeah. So
But if you let Wee W Brother get a soft lead, then he's going to kick and probably win. Yeah. So he attacked, and it was just too hard, too fast. You're right. This horse here is a horse ready to win, Clint. He'll be winning soon. He's racing really well.
He's racing well. I've liked the form around some of his races well, Richo, and in that bottom grade, Hearty Wish, he's a winner waiting to happen.
Okay, he is ready. He's knocking on the door. Did you have any to throw in, RS?
Yeah, the other horse, Sweet and Cow, ran really well. I thought he gave it a nice ride after it missed the start. If you have a look in the gates, I always go back and watch him. The horse actually moved and it missed it. If it jumps, it probably wins. There's no doubt, but it didn't have a hard run. Got home, ran second, and it's just going to win again for sure on that run. It's going to improve.
It's interesting watching horses being loaded in Hong Kong versus, say, for example, in Australia, where I think they stay in the barriers for far too long. Whereas in Hong Kong, I know they take a long time to start to load, and they're always 3 or 4 minutes late. That's from a turnover scenario. Once they do load, they seem, Shane, to load them and then bang. Is that a fair assessment from afar?
Yeah, it's a lot quicker in Hong Kong than it is in Australia. And plus, you don't have to go in first in Hong Kong if you're a naughty horse or play up in the gates, whereas in Australia, if you play up in the gates and you have drawn number 1, they still put you in first, which I think is ridiculous. But they should put them in last, because then the horse drawn gate 2 is disadvantaged, because that horse can get upset because gate 1 plays up. Whereas in Hong Kong, if they play up, they don't put them in early. They leave them to last, which is the right way to go about it.
I've got it's interesting to hear what Shane says there. I mean, Didham is the starter in Melbourne, and I asked him about that when I first came back from Hong Kong, and I said, they load them in order here, no matter what they are. And I said, why do you do that? Why don't you let the other ones go in later? And basically his line was along the terms of, well, if they've got to get out of the bad habit, if you keep doing it late, they'll continue to have that. But the problem is that some horses, that's just going to be them. I would have thought, And I like the system they have in England where we saw with our Tories, I think the trainer can get three races a year at least where they nominate and they can say, well, can we put them in late? So, I mean, his theory in Australia or here in Victoria anyway was that they don't get out of the bad habit. They've got to get out of it and, and the stables have to work on it.
Richo, you'll find this interesting. The quickest I've ever been is in Mauritius. There's normally 9, 10 in a race. And I'm not joking, from the time the first horse is into the last, it would be about 25 seconds. They all more or less go in as one and they just go boom and jump. It's really quick over there.
That's incredible. So on Saturday, Chalkstream, His Majesty's horse played up and was scratched at the barrier. That horse was in there for a minute and a half before they jumped. So a minute and a half he was sitting there. Do I hear voices? That sounds like a superstar jockey in the background. We're going to join him in a moment, actually. Yeah, it sounded like the beautiful dulcet tones of Zac Purton. What he's basically saying is, shut up, Richo, move over to the next segment, which is Genius or Slaughter.
They sweep for home now. Beander Cross has come very wide. Beander Cross answering the urgings of Shane Dye. Mannerism coming at him. Mannerism has got it.
Daring tactics by Shane Dye. He's got Octagonal in full flight on the corner. Bold tactics by Shane Dye are going to pay off and he pinches the Chipping Norton.
Everyone's favourite part of the show, Genius or Slaughter, where the great man RS Dye, the Hall of Famer, casts his eye over the rides of the week. And we start with the positives. Who was a genius this week?
There was a few this week, but this was the main one. I gave him a pay last week on Trader, and he's got to learn to come back when they're going too fast. I thought he rated this really well. He ran like a 24 to a 23.8 the whole way, and that's evenly. He was lucky he wasn't attacked mid-race, but he was just going quick enough so nothing could attack him, and he just held on in the end. And he's riding pretty well. He makes a few mistakes like we saw on Circuit Stella before, but I wouldn't worry about that. That'll come out of his game. And with 10 pounds off, these horses are so hard to beat if you can rate them well. And like I said, I think he get 2 winners last week in True Legend, which he rated well, and Superb Catalyst, which was just, wouldn't have mattered who ridden him. He's too good. But he's going good, Clint.
Yeah, he is. I think, on leaders, that's where you got to probably follow him at this point in time. Like I said, when he rode the race on Circuit Stella, it was, I thought, average, but then he's ridden this one. Well, look at late in the race. This is what Tony Cruz would be telling him, and probably Felix to an extent as well. See, he doesn't pull the stick late here, and it's just shaking the reins at it. I know for a lot of riders, this must be frustrating, Shane, but Tony specifically tells a lot of them, don't hit him, man. Don't hit him.
No,
just keep...
I disagree with that. That's ridiculous. I'll argue with Tony all day long over that one. You got to hit them. Simple as that. I do not agree with Tony. That was his style, but Peter Cook was like that, but Peter Cook could still hit them. Remember, Petey was a beautiful polished rider. I'm more vigorous. I like that. There was a couple of other good rides anyway. Phoenix Light with Alexi Bedell gave it a very good ride. And actually, Zach gave, Zach's online. He gave that thing in the Class 5, Superb Daddy, a great line. I tipped it on the show 2 starts ago as a good thing, the best bet, and it did not get the right ride. And it ran nowhere, beaten about 4 or 5 lengths, and you thought it was disappointing. But I thought as soon as that gets a good ride, it's just going to win. And Zach gave it a perfect ride, stayed on the fence, never left it, come one off at 300, and he was too good and he won. And that's what happens when you get the right ride on the right horse in the Class 5.
What happened to a Slaughter? Who caught your eye this week?
No, I didn't put any up. I'm giving the boys a week off. There were a couple average rides, but nothing real Slaughter where, and we spoke about Circuit Stella before, but no, I'm giving them a week off.
You're not getting soft in your old age, are you?
Well, Zach's on listening, and I thought if I put him up on one, he might debate me and go berserk at me. So
listen, the thing is with when last time Shane had a week off, the following week he had a lot to run through. So
there was a heap of slaughters, remember? That was on the C track, C+3 at Happy Valley. Oh, my God.
Yes.
The moment you take your eye off them, all the jockeys go, whew.
Hey, but I'll tell you what is funny, when I do give one a pay over something wrong, they normally come out the following week and ride about 3 winners. It seems to be a trend.
Well, we're going to find out from the best in the business. Our star power guest this week is the one and only Zac Purton. Our very special guest, adding much needed star power to this program, is the one and only Zac Purton, who's very much a friend of the show. Zac, as always, buddy, great to see you, but hopefully we've got our fingers crossed. Everything's okay. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. I felt good the whole time. I haven't had any symptoms at all, so I've been one of the lucky ones. I was positive by the PCR on Sunday, but at that time I was still quite high on the number, so I wasn't contagious. I was able to then isolate so that I didn't infect anyone else. And then my numbers dropped on Monday and Tuesday, but by Wednesday I was back up to a good mark, and I've been negative Wednesday, Thursday. I've done my test already this morning. On the RAT test, I'm negative. I just got to wait for the PCR to come back. But unless I have a rebound, I should be there on Sunday.
So you've been walking the box, mate, or you've been handling it quite well?
I've been handling it really well. I actually don't mind being on my own. I thought I'd have to smash Netflix, but I've had a lot of phone calls and a lot of things to do. I've got a treadmill in the room and a bike as well, so I get on that and do a little bit every day. And, you know, it's been all right. So I prefer to be outside, of course, but it hasn't been as bad as I thought it was going to be.
I'm going to have to race you on Zwift by the sound of that. So you're riding the bike on Zwift, making your way up the mountains. Are you climbing Alpe d'Huez?
Yeah, no, there's none of that. It's just a standard bike.
Oh, right.
We're at the gym. But it's better than nothing.
Zac, really looking forward to this weekend, as I'm sure you are hoping to ride, and what a weekend it's going to be.
Yeah, of course. And that's one of the reasons I really wanted to push myself to try and be back for this meeting. It's our key lead-up meeting for the internationals in December. I got some nice rides. They're going to be competitive, but I just wanted to make sure that they were going to be doing everything right going into the big day.
And then we have a look at all the jockeys that have arrived, Zac. Hey, have you been like, go away, mate, this is my patch, we don't need you? Huey Bowman, Jai McNeil, J Mac, Blake Shin, get rid of them.
Yeah, well, I have been enjoying it the way it has been, for sure, no doubt about that. But it's good to have a few of the boys in town for one day only, and obviously Hugh and Jai are going to stay for a little bit longer and maybe even longer beyond that. But the droppers room is going to be a little bit busier this week.
Zac, one quick question. When are you going to get your nose straightened, mate? On the show, it's just so crooked. You got to get it done.
I broke it twice last season. Once with when the horse broke it behind the gates on Gorgeous Vitality, and obviously I got back on him and won that race, which was good. But then I had it rebroken, 10 days after that. And he was meant to straighten it up a little bit. He hasn't done a very good job. I'm going to ask for a refund.
Hey, Zac, before we head into the weekend and all your rides, etc., and discuss some of the races, obviously you mentioned you're really happy with the way things are going this season, and in terms of your winners, you've been, I have read in, I think, the local press as well, you mentioned about the target in terms of the record that Joe holds, Joe Moreira, that is of 170. Is that the main focus now?
Yeah, well, when I sat down at the end of last season and I started to look at the numbers, obviously I had the fall last season and missed a period of time and then come back, and I didn't feel like I was at my best. I was struggling with injuries. I was pushing myself through pain every day. It was really difficult, but I sort of did it because I had the allure of winning the championship in front of me. I rode 138 winners, I think it was. So that's nearly 140, and I thought, if I hadn't had that time off, if I'm in a little bit better form, Jamie Richards was coming to Hong Kong, so I thought I might get a little bit more support there. John Sizer started to use me a little bit more, so I thought I'm going to get a little bit more support there. And I started to calculate the numbers a little bit, and I thought, you know what, it's realistic. And then I come back this season, obviously, Joe is struggling with injury himself, so we take him out, and it really does open the door up. So all I've got to do is maintain my health and fitness, get on a little bit of a roll. I haven't been quite happy with the way things have been going. I feel like I've had a lot of bad barriers, and I know Shane has touched on this before, and everyone complains about having bad barriers, but I just seem to have the wrong barriers on the wrong horses at the wrong times, week after week after week, and it's become very tiring and draining. And I'm having to use my horses a lot more than I want to try and get positions, and they're just coming up a little bit short. So when the luck of the barriers start to fall my way a little bit more again, and I know they have on the weekend, of course, you're probably going to bring that up, but once I feel like the barriers fall my way a little bit more, I can see myself, instead of riding the 2, 3, 4 winners, riding the 4, 5, 6, 7 winners on a little bit more of a regular basis. And once that happens, the numbers start to add up quite quickly. And that's what I'm hoping for.
It's a fascinating insight, and it gives us a little insight into your mindset, because there's been a bit of conversation here in Australia, Zac, that you're ready to come home. Is that fair? I mean, I don't want to talk about, it's obviously the elephant in the room. How long can you maintain that passion for riding in Hong Kong?
Yeah, it's been really, really difficult the last 2 years. I've had a number of injuries and like I touched on recently, since December last year, I've had 17 fractures alone. So that's without all the other muscle and ligament injuries that I've got to deal with as well, and the discs and things like that. So I feel like I'm in the best place now that I have been in 2 years, but I'm still not 100%. I don't think I'll ever get back to 100% because of a couple of the issues I've got. But if I can get to 90%, 95%, that's where I want to get to. And I think I'm not far off getting to there now. So obviously when you're pain free, you can enjoy it a little bit more. Things become a little bit more pleasurable. And I must admit, I have been enjoying the racing a little bit more recently. But I still know I'm at the end of my career. I'm not going to be riding for too much longer. I had a date in my mind, but my wife disagrees with me. So yeah, trying to find some middle ground on that at the moment. So that's where we're at. But I think what we'll do is we'll probably commit to the end of this season and then maybe reassess it again towards the end of the season.
Zach, one quick question. Does the wife want you to keep riding longer so she can take Jamie's partner out shopping more?
I think that's part of that. She likes her life in Hong Kong. She loves it. She doesn't want to leave it. So whereas a lot of jockeys have it the other way, as you know, their partners don't like it and then they struggle to stay here because it's really hard within their family life. So I've been really lucky in that regard. Nicole loves it here. She thinks the kids are settled here, we're settled here. So she's the one trying to keep me here.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's great. That's really good to have a partner who's really behind you like that. It helps so much when you're in a high profession job and stressful job as you are, that they're not going against you and telling you that they're going to leave and go back home. And you're very, very lucky because there's a lot that don't do that, Zach. Trust me on that.
Yeah, of course, I understand that. That's why I brought it up. I've seen it year after year after year when the wives have come here and they haven't been happy and the jockeys have had no choice in the end, they just have to go. But I was in that position a little bit in my first season here when I was riding against, yourself, Douglas White, Brett Preble, Danny Nikolic, Darren Beeman, Glenn Boss, Eric St. Martin, Kevin Shea, Felix Kutzi, Anthony Delpeche, if I didn't mention him, like they, Gerard Mosse, like they were the who's who of jockeys from all around the world, and they've been here for 5 or 10 years and they were well established. And as you know, once you build the relationships with the trainers and then the owners, you have quite a lot of power in this joint. So there was no reason for them to put a kid on that they knew nothing about over all these other jockeys that have been successful for them, they had relationships with. So I couldn't get a go early on and it was really hard. And in that first season, I did want to go home and Nicole convinced me to stay. So she was right then. Hopefully she's right now.
Well said.
Hey, Shane, you've been there and done that. Have you got some advice for Zach as he's getting towards, I think he's still a young man, getting towards the twilight of his career. You've been there and done it. Have you got any advice for him?
You'll know when the time's up, but the one thing I will say is when it's up, it's up. Don't come back and don't try to. You stop riding track work, stop riding horses. You've got your life, you got the rest of your life, you got your kids, you got your family. And I don't understand these people that give up riding and then keep riding track work because they like it. You can have an accident track work and you're gone, paralyzed or whatever. So when you give up, but you'll know when the time's there. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. And I think along the same lines. I've seen many sportsmen in many different aspects retire and then come back, a few years later and they're just not the same. So I don't think I would do that. I don't want to do that. And to be honest, I'm actually looking forward to the next chapter in my life, whereas a lot of people or a lot of jockeys or sportsmen, they're scared about what's going to be next. They're scared about not being in the limelight anymore, not being a celebrity or a name anymore, not having the attention anymore. I can't wait till I slip back into society and become anonymous and just go and play my golf and go for long lunches and travel the world.
Count his money.
What I need to do, Zach, is get that nose fixed, mate, and then I'll get you sitting alongside me on Channel 7. You'll be looking. But first, we've got to get that thing back into line.
Well, I've always said another thing, that I don't have a voice for radio or a head for TV, so I'm stuffed.
I don't worry, we'll change that. Hey, one thing about motivation, when you get surrounded by great riders or great competition in any sport, when you're a champion like Zac Purton is, that would probably fuel things for you, mate. So look forward to this international jockey challenge coming up. And we've seen the names that have arrived. Mate, it is a who's who. You're going to have a lot of fun competing against the absolute best.
Yeah, it's a great list, and I'm looking forward to having them all come to Hong Kong and be able to experience Happy Valley again. Obviously, it comes down to the luck of the draw, but they've tried to even it up a little bit more recently. But they're all great riders. They're flying in their parts of the world, and it's going to be a strong competition again.
The only thing that has remained consistent in recent years, Zach, is a couple of days leading in, you're one of the best at playing it down and you can't win and you've got bad barriers and you haven't got the best rides and it just goes bang, bang.
Well, I do say all that, then I forget about how talented I am.
Very good.
Touche. Bang. Take that. Hey, RS, you've had a lot of influence on Zac already.
Oh, you got to be positive. I'll tell you something. Now, anyone who can knock Douglas White off the throne and Joe Moreira after the 2 years where no jockey's done what he's done in Hong Kong and the way he rode deserves all the credit in the world because it's an unbelievable effort. And I don't think people in Australia quite realise how big an effort it was or is.
Yeah, that is a great point. Hey, also on that International Jockey Challenge, what an opportunity. So Jamie Carr versus Holly Doyle. Just that in alone is worth your admittance for that is going to be epic to watch them in action.
Yeah, well, we've seen Holly there in the past, and she's ridden a winner at the meeting, and she's delivering regularly in the UK. And of course, Jamie's taken all before her in Australia as well. So they deserve their spot there. And it'd be amazing to see them ride. I'm looking forward to seeing Jamie go there and ride for sure. I think she'll be a real hit.
Well, Shane, you lead Zac through all the key rides, starting with race number 6, where he's on the talented Lucky Swain S.
Lucky Swain S, I think he's a great chance International Day, better than here, even though he's going to be badly weighted. He's going to be stronger. He's got an awkward gate again, Zac. He needs a gate, this horse. If he gets a gate in the International, I don't care if Wellington beats him again tomorrow. He's the horse to beat. Wellington's going to be very hard. What do you think you will do from gate 11? Will you push on like last time? Well, you got to, don't you, Zac?
Yeah, I do. I have no choice. I'm going to push on again and try and get in. There's a little bit more speed in this race, so I might have something to follow, which might help him. He doesn't have to lead this horse, but he's just been drawing so poorly that he's had no option but to go forward. And I know the last time the race, the overall time was very fast. The runners inside me just kept picking up for that first 200 to 300 metres and really made him work to get across. So to then be able to give that kick at the 250 and only get run down by Wellington, who's flying, it was a very good effort. And like you said, he just needs to draw a gate to try and level things up a little bit.
I thought this run, more went back, obviously we like Wellington on the day, and Zac had to work a little bit there, as he's mentioned. But the more I looked at this, Shane, Wellington had the best run of all time on the back of Lucky Swain S. He did no work, Alexi, through virtually the whole race. He was entitled to come off his back and run over the top of him. And it's easy to make a case to say, yeah, he should frank that form at the weights, etc. And he may well do that. But I think Lucky Swain S is right in the game. He's only been beaten a length. He had to work early there. I think he might be a play for us on the weekend, actually, because I think they'll really come for Wellington and he'll start short. You could see my market there. I had him about 290 and I had Lucky Swain S around 420. Yeah. And I think you got a great chance, Zach, but the barrier is an issue. But the way that I mapped the race, I thought there is a bit of speed. And the one good thing, like you said, he's not a horse that necessarily has to lead, and you're going to need a little bit of luck. But if you got the right run, you could make it interesting.
Yeah, that's correct. And B+2 can sometimes favour horses on pace as well, so that might play into my hands.
I said after the last run when he got beat, I wasn't worried about it, Zac, and he's my tip now for the International, unless he goes no good Sunday. But he's going to go well. He's going to be in the first 3 somewhere. He's too good. And the best thing about this horse going to the International is time. He's a young horse, so every run he's going to get a little bit stronger, and learn more. Whereas the other horses at his peak, we know what he is. He's Wellington. He's a superstar. He's going to be very hard to beat. Skyfield ran well last start. He got back and run on. He'll do the same, but I like Lucky Swears. I think he'll run well.
The other horse that I am interested in the race, and I thought they just got it wrong on the day, it was Cordyceps 6. I don't know if we can have a look at the start again, but Lyle Hewitson was very negative out of the gates. He ended up back with Skyfield. Just have a look at this out of the gates with Cordyceps. You see how well he jumped there. He's inside of Courier 1, and now he's in the red cap. And he drags him all the way back to last. He's not the horse highlighted, obviously, because we're talking. He doesn't need to be anywhere
So he's
near
the horse back second last,
Second last. He doesn't need to be anywhere near that far back of the run. Now, D'Souza's drawn gate 8. He's the one that's over the odds. He got home pretty well there. I thought, Zach, he's still a horse that he's got something to offer. I know he's got to step up a little bit, but what did you think of Cordyceps?
Yeah, he's a very talented horse, and I was a bit surprised with how he ran last time. And, Huey, when he was going to come up, he asked me for a horse to follow for the sprint, and I said to ring for Cordyceps 6. So I think he's the third best. Obviously, we have Wellington, Lucky Swain S. Skyfield's a bit hit and miss, but Blake was already on him. Cordyceps 6 is the other one for us here in Hong Kong.
We get to race number 7, which is the mile, and hallelujah, he is back, Golden 60. And Zach, can you knock him off with California Spangle?
Geez, he's a hard horse to beat, isn't he? You go slow, he out sprints you because he can regularly break 22 for his last quarter. You go fast and you just play into his hands. So there's not really a chink in his armour when he has a clear run in the race. And this is the only time we matched up. But this day, my horse, I felt, was not at his best. He'd had a Derby preparation. He'd gone up to 2,000 metres, had a hard run in the Derby where he was taken on a couple of times and really had to dig deep, only got beat ahead. Then he dropped back to the mile and he had a little bit of a setback going into the race, and he raced too fiercely. He never relaxed. I couldn't hold him for the first half mile of this race, and he really run with me. Since then, he's had the off-season, and his 2 runs this time in, he's relaxed really, really nicely. But I don't think that last run when he won is good enough to beat Golden 60. I think he has to go better than that. And that was his first time. He ran 1,400 first time this season when they went quite fast. So it might have taken a bit out of him. And he stepped up to the mile. And he might have just been feeling the effects of his first run. And I'm hoping that that's the case. And now that he's had that extra run, he's going to be better for it, because I need to find 2 lengths off his last run. But I'm looking forward to it. Not sure I can beat him, but let's see. Let's see.
The thing in the race is one horse, King Shield. What say if he goes to try and lead? Will you take a sit or will you keep going? That's the only horse that can take you on.
This is the debate that you and I had going into the Champions Mile last season, when I think Healthy Happy was in the race. And he was an established leader as well. And you was telling me, why don't you take a sit? And Tony Cruz, he just doesn't want to take a sit. Under no circumstances do you take a sit on a horse like this which he thinks is a leader, and he thinks that they like being on the fence. So if you see outside a leader, he says the horse doesn't have the fence. He said it has to have the fence. So I have no doubt he's going to tell me to go. I have no option. So I hope that they're sensible on King Shield and take the sit.
Yeah, it's annoying that he's in the race, to be honest, because he's absolutely got no chance. I don't know I think I had him nearly 1,000 to 1 in the race, and he's a bit of a pest, to be perfectly honest. But I think you've got a great chance from the point of view, Zach, that you've mentioned the reasons, and what you're saying is right. I go back and you look at what Golden 60 done rating wise, but what is also in your favour, you have the race fitness. If King Shield doesn't pester you, I mean, let's hark back to how Golden 60 got beat once. And this was when Vincent, and I think you'll write him similarly to this, he might be a pair closer. But Waikuku, now, California Spangle is a lot better horse than Waikuku. But this is what can happen when the tempo's in your favour. Now, obviously, like I said, Vincent's aware of that now. So that's what you're going to have to keep in your mind. But your horse is a good free roller, and you've got, if you're going to beat him, the weekend gives you a great chance to do that just with, like I said, the fitness under the belt.
You're exactly right. And his last trial on the dirt obviously left more questions than answers. It was a really wet morning. He didn't let down at all on that surface, so you can't get a guide through that. But his previous trial on the grass looked nice, and his subsequent gallop on the grass looked really, really good. So I think he's going well. I've got confidence I can beat him, and I'm looking forward to the challenge. So here we are. We've got the weights in our favour. We've got the fitness on our side. this is our chance to beat him. B+2, like I said, favours horses in front. That's where we're going to be. So this is our chance.
The one thing that no one's mentioned here is Golden 60 is a superstar. But once you get to 7 years old, you start to decline. The age catches up, and you would know that, Zach. At about 7, that's the decline. So it's just a matter whether he has or not. And he's not going to decline much, but it might be enough for Golden Spangled to get over the line, but he's still going to be very hard to beat in this type of race sitting off them.
Yeah, that's correct. And it only takes one run. You don't see it coming, and then all of a sudden they put that one average run in, and then they're gone. So he's only one run away from being over the hill.
It is interesting, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we're comparing him with the horse, but, she was still racing well, Winks under 7 and 8, and he's only had 24 starts. So I think what you're saying is spot on, Shane. The statistics would tell you all of that.
Well, he can't improve. He can't improve.
But he might not have to, like they said. But he's going to, this is an interesting season because the young guns are coming through. But he hasn't been overly taxed, is what I'm trying to say. 24 starts. He's won 21 of them as well. It's incredible.
It is incredible. Hey, what about the Cup, Hutch? How do you line this up? And Zach, of course, is riding Beauty Joy.
Well, as Shane said with Golden 60, he is a champion, and he might just be too good again. And I'm sort of getting that vibe with Romantic Warrior when I look at this lineup as well. To be perfectly honest, I got him 220, and he might start odds on because I go through the field. And Beauty Joy's an interesting one. We'll talk with Zach because now he comes back where the weights will be in his favour a little bit. And I thought he was good last up, but he's got to step up. But you just don't see many horses, Zach, do what this guy did last year. In his first preparation, he's gone from winning at Happy Valley. He's won all bar the Classic Cup. He won the Derby. He came out and then he beat the older horses. It's been an incredible run. So tell us about him, and also this is the replay of Beauty Joy, of course, who I thought ran well the other day.
Yeah, I was really disappointed in this effort from Beauty Joy. I know I had top weight, Money Catcher had no weight on his back, but I thought he was there to win the race. And as we know, his character, he's a little bit funny, and I think it was his character that come through and showed in the end. Then when the fight is on, he's not up for the fight, and I didn't like that, and that's why he carries on like he does early in the race and mid-race. But he did relax a little bit better in that run the other day. Doesn't look like there's a lot of speed in this race again. I don't know where he's going to be in the run because you can't have a plan on him. Sometimes he begins really well. He's led before over 1,400. Sometimes he stands there and doesn't want to get going at all. Other times he takes a position. So I don't know where I'll be. I've just got to go with whatever he gives me on the day. But he gets to 2,000 metres for the first time, which I don't think is going to be a problem. I think he's still going up. I think there's a little bit more there. But if he was going to be the top horse that we were hoping he was going to be, he would have put Money Catcher to bed the other day.
Yeah, I'm hoping he jumps on turns because I think that the lead could be there. I wouldn't be surprised if Money Catcher, I think Hugh's riding Money Catcher, isn't he? And I thought he might be happy to take a sit. So it's an interesting race because, like Zach said, there's really not much pressure in that race. And
yeah, King Yang Star leads everything normally. He only didn't lead last start. He missed the start. He's just going to go to the front if he jumps.
And what did your rate see in October? He gets 2,000 metres or more, he's go.
I think a mile and a half is what he's looking for, though.
Even further.
I think it just showed how slow they were going the other day, the fact that he was handy in the run.
Fair call.
He's a nice enough horse, but I think Romantic Warrior, he's a serious horse. We're talking about California Spangle and this guy. There's not much between them. And I think J-Mac, what did you make of his trials? Zach, you did trial Romantic Warrior. What sort of feel did he give you?
Yeah, I tried him twice. Listen, he's got a crabby little action on him. I haven't ridden him prior to these two trials, so I can't get a guide on him. I don't know if that little injury he had at the start of the season is affecting him or not, but I didn't like the first time I galloped him. I thought his action was pretty poor. The second time I galloped him, he felt really good. And both his trials, he's been okay, but he's been a little bit crabby. What I think, though, is that when he gets to the front, he's a very smart horse. He just relaxes and idles, so... I think he's there. He's our best as long as he's healthy and fit. He's not his best form fitness wise, but as long as he's healthy, he's our best 2,000 metre horse. I don't think the barrier's a problem. He's got speed. He'll go forward. He'll race handy, and it'll only be fitness that beats him.
Okay, so we go from Group 2 races to Class 2. Race number 9 here as we assess the field. Hutch, who jumps off the page here, and Zach rides Oriental Smoke.
Yeah, it's interesting. I presume, Zach, that the 1,400 metre for Hazy, the 1,400 metre for Ray is well and truly past him. They're going to stick him to 1,200 metres because it doesn't look like he gets it.
Possibly, but he's never going to get 1,400 metres last start the way the race worked out and the way I rode him. I was 4 wide, no cover the entire, so you can just forget that run. He comes back to 1,200 where he's won all his races. He's got a good gait. He's got no weight on his back. He's going to be a chance again.
He also had mucus last start, which is a big failure to most horses. So he had an excuse, Zach.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, so we went 4 wide over a 1,400 metre race and we had mucus. So we've got 2 excuses.
Yeah.
I'm constantly got mucus. It doesn't help.
No, I like him back at 1,200. That's where all his best runs. I think he's a runner. He's a horse that likes a good speed, and he's
a key runner.
12. He's a key runner. I thought that it's an interesting race. I mean, I'm siding with sort of Fantastic Way again. Potentially, I'm a single man. I think gets a good run. Those are 2 key players in the race, but it's not a deep race. I don't think there are a stack of chances in it. Oriental Smoke is one of the key runners, but Fantastic Way and I'm a Single Man, I think, are both great hopes.
Surely, Shane, you're with I'm a Single Man.
I think Lucky With You will run a race. Zach, why did you choose the other horse, or did David just put you on him?
He just put me on him.
Would you rather ride Lucky With You or Oriental Smoke?
I have no choice.
No, which one would you rather ride if you had a choice? That means you wanted to ride Lucky With You.
No, it means he's sitting on the fence. Yeah, well, he was only beaten a length and a half the other day. Zach presented him. He had his chance. I thought there's probably a little swing in the weights, but I think obviously that probably looks the key form reference, doesn't it? The Fantastic Way, I'm a Single Man, Lucky With You race. So they look the premier horses there.
And while you're hot, Hutch, race number 10?
Yeah, I don't mind this race. I thought there was a good bet here with Good Buddy. Interesting bit of track work we might touch on shortly, but I thought he was very good last. Started behind Science Patch, and he's run prior when they went back, and he rattled home behind Packing Treadmill. He had excuses there, and then of course he won prior to that. And I thought he just gets a nice run with Huey Bowman. I think he's got a great chance, and of course Zach's got Eremo. I think he's
looking for 3 in a row.
It's going to be harder here. He gets a great run from the barrier again, but he's going up a lot in weight. He goes up 10 pounds, and we've got Cobfield, I thought, and the other Quinella chance was Happy Day, who we made in the Sid file. But Zach, Eremo's flying, but you've also probably had the races run to suit his last couple. What did you think of his chances?
Yeah, what you say is correct. He's come out of Barrier 1 his last 2 starts, and for him, he's been in 2 races where they've gone really, really hard. And I think he just enjoys the gallop. Like, he might even be looking for 1,600 metres in time, but he just enjoys that good, strong gallop, and it's really played into his hands. So from Barrier 3, he's going to get a similar run, but he's got more weight on his back, and he's only a small horse, so it might bog him down a little bit, but I'd be looking for a really fast run race again. But he's airborne, he's flying, and when horses are in a purple patch of form like this, they can reel off a series of wins. There's no reason why he can't win again, providing the pace of the race is fast.
And that's a question mark, Shane. I've written down here, not much pace. There's massive action that goes forward. I didn't think they'd go as hard in this race.
If the track's playing to off-pace runners, I think Happy Day will go well with no weight on his back. He trialled the other day, was good. His run last start was good. I think he'll give a side Happy Day if they can come from back. If it's an on-pace track, well, he's got no hope.
Any other key runners, Shane, we should identify in that race? Or you think
Happy
Happy
Day,
Day,
the 14th? Gone through them, haven't you? Winner Method's not the worst.
Cobfield and also Good Buddy.
Decrypt's not the worst, looking at this.
What's happened to Master Montaro? Not quite the horse that we thought he would be up in Hong Kong.
Oh, he was when he went there. He's just sometimes they get a little bit stale when they're there for a while and they don't, for whatever reason, it doesn't suit them, or they can have a preparation where they go well and the environment suits them and doesn't. I mean, he's nowhere near as good as he was when he first arrived, that's for sure.
Just looking at this, Richo, there's one that went better last start, the 12.
Tamra Blitz.
Yep. It went better last start. It's not the worst. It'll still be odds, but it's no good thing or anything. But it did go better. It's on the improve.
Throw it in your quaddie is the advice there. 40 wins for the season, Zach. What's your best ride, do you think, on Sunday?
Oh, you put me on the spot.
And I love doing that.
Yeah, get Shane to go through my rides.
Okay, so hit the shot, Ice Legend, Running Glory in the first 3.
Okay, hit the shot's got a chance. He'll box seat, probably just be off them. He'll battle on, but there's a lot of chances in that. Race 2, he can win or he could win.
Ice Legend.
4th. Race 2, you can win for sure, Zach. Ice Legend, what do you think of him?
He's a good chance. Yeah, he ran well the other day. He's back to 1200 on the grass, which suits him. He just needs a fast speed. He comes from back, so we need to be able to make ground.
What's the biggest thing here for him?
Don't know, Shane. You enlighten me.
Class drop. Class drop.
Okay.
Yeah, down from class 3 to class 4, mate. He'll run very well, Zach. He gets his chance. There's a lot of first starters in that. There's about 7, I think. I could be wrong. Just quick 1 to about 7. And they've all got pace. Most of them all want to lead, so it's going to be interesting. Danny Shum's horse goes all right. Supreme Lucky, you would have seen him at the trials, but you've got a very good chance. Then we go race 3. Oh, this went really well the other day. Zach, he can win for sure. Running Glory. You know him. He'll get back a bit.
He's about the size of a jockey, but
he's
like
tiny.
Said, he's coming into form, so he'll get his chance.
He's definitely got a chance. Not a lot of pace in that. Enjoying will probably lead, but he probably won't go too fast on him. So that's the worry, the pace in that race. But he's definitely got a chance.
And Rise Brethren, which was a great selection from Hutchie's Honkers.
We backed them both last start, Rise Brethren and Running Glory. But Running Glory now, you'd imagine with that run, he'll be ready. And I like Zach getting on him. I think that's a big positive.
Big positive. Race 4, we go to Zach, Circuit Mighty. Now this can win. He's racing well without winning. And you could get a soft lead or be up there. It depends on a couple from gate 2. He's definitely got a chance, that horse.
Yeah, his problem is he likes to go a little bit hard, and when you try and fight him too much, he hangs. And the other day, Matthew Poon did a good job. He rated him quite well, but they went past him in the straight, and then he was coming strong again on the line. So if I have the race run to suit, I might go for home a little bit early.
Geez, you watch replays, eh?
You've drilled it into us, Shane.
He was coming again at the line. It looked as though he was going to beat 6 lengths. And the last 50 metres, he got his second win. And he got going again. I think he gets his chance with you on him tomorrow from gate 2. I know that. Then what else you got? Race 5?
He's got the Golden Express.
This is the best race of the day for sure. These horses in this race can go to class 2, class 1, some of them, if they're right. You've got Lord Thunder, who's had a problem tendon, I think, and had a year off, but he's very good. You got Scotch Tytoon, who won 3 last year, goes well. Golden Express, who Zach's on, was very impressive in Brisbane at Urban, I think it was. He sat 4th, but he won by about 6 lengths, and he looked really good. He's looked good at the trials, Zach. What do you think of him?
Yeah, he is trialling well. He's got a little bit of speed, so he'll be handy. Obviously, John Sizer's horse has improved from one run to the next. He never really sends him to the races fully wound up first time out, so it'll just be a fitness question as to whether he's going to get it done or not, but he's certainly a horse to follow for sure.
Then you've got Victor, the winner, drawn gate 2, who will lead if he jumps. His last run was great. His first up run was sensational when he won and run time and looked really good. Then you got Island Golden, who won the restricted race by about 4 lengths the other day. This is a lot stronger, but that's a really good race, isn't it, Clint?
It sure is, yep. And on that note, I might run, because we are running out of time, I might run through my best of the day, Richo.
Best of the day.
Best is Victor, the winner. I think he made Shane Slaughter last start, so he's going to be the best of the day.
Victor the winner. And
then in the last race, I think Good Buddy looks a great chance as well, and we can take those Cornellas in the final race, as I said, with what did we have? We had Aramo in there. We've got Cobfield, and of course, down the bottom, Happy Day, the one that Shane made a case for. So those will be my two.
So Victor
plays.
The winner and Good Buddy. Keep in mind that this little moment of the show last week, you went bing, bing, and then Shane joined in with another one as well.
Exactly.
It was an absolute fill-up, and now the drum roll, RS Dye.
Oh, let's put the pressure on Zach, shall we? I'll go Ice Legend and Circuit Mighty. Race 2 and race 4, Zach rides. There you go. Put the pressure on him now, so he's got to perform.
I like how you covered the track eyes there too. You've got one that comes from back in the field, one's going to lead. So you're going to get one right.
Well, Zach, in all honesty, my betting pattern changes. As you know, I was a bias rider in my day and could pick it up after one race. I'll be going to back a horse in race 4 for sure. And after race 1, there's no way I'm backing it. I'm backing something that's my 5th tip. So until you see the track with me, I can change a lot. And you know that. You know what it's like riding on bias tracks.
Yeah, Shane, what you say is 100% correct. And I quite often change my riding tactics during the day, depending on what I think the bias is like. Now, you have to have a horse to be able to do it as well, and you have to have the speed and the makeup of the race to be able to suit what you want to do. But I quite often change my mind as the day goes on.
Perfect.
Hey, Zach, you're a good kid with a big future ahead. I think if you just keep at it, you might make it one day.
Zach, well done. Great chatting to you. And I'll give you a little bit of advice. Put the lock on the door so Nicole can't get out shopping, mate. Keep her inside.
I'll put a block on the credit card.
Hey, Zach, thanks so much for your time, mate. We love chatting to you. You're a star.
Thanks, guys. Love the show. Keep it up.
Fantastic. The one and only Zac Purton.
Great stuff.
What an outstanding guest he is every time we get him on.
He's brilliant. And, you know, he's when he talks through his mindset and what he does,
so
he's
good.
very clear. He's like, you know, and you can understand why he's so successful. But, gee, when you go through this meeting, Shane, there's a lot to look forward to. There's so many nice races, horses competing. It's going to be a brilliant meeting this Sunday.
I love race 5. I think it's a great race. Victor, the winner, as you said, but it's just so many nice, promising horses in it. The one thing about Zach, which a lot of jockeys don't do because they don't want to lose rides or people, is Zach tells you how it is. If he thinks he's riding a $2 chance and it's not going well, he's not going to get on the screen and say, oh, this is going well, like most jockeys. He'll get on there and say, well, this is wrong or that's wrong. It can't win. I don't think it can. He gives his opinion, which is what jockeys should do, but sometimes they don't because they're too scared to.
We absolutely love it. We love your opinion as well, RS Dye. Good luck on Sunday, mate. You've got a lot of work to do between now and then. We've written down a few. Zach's given us great insight as well. Happy punting.
Thanks, mate. See you. I'll watch you on TV tonight at the cricket.
Oh, very much look forward to, and I'll be there on Sunday as well. So make sure you send your tips through. Hey, hutchieshonkers.com is the number one place in town.
Yeah, make sure you get on, and we get a couple of weeks for free too if you just want to try it out.
Oh, if you don't mind. Zac Purton, our very special guest. Hope you enjoyed the show.